All right, so this isn't going to be some big dunkarooski, but there was a couple of things that popped up. These were so exemplary of sort of this devolution of the left into really, I mean, what these people really are. They're people who can't really handle a society that people who are good at things will succeed and get rewarded by other people. They cannot deal with this. They're cheaters to their core, and more this is starting to become more and more clear. So people who are leaving the left are people who they're getting it. They're starting to really see it now. And I'm betting the thing is that they hear people say things that they think like, okay, I know you're mad at like Trump, or I know, but I mean, come on, that's kind of fucking crazy. And so now, and so the reason why I'm saying that is because I've talked to a person who is an older, and I've had just a handful of conversations over the last few years, riot times included, and people who are Gen X, like the older end of Gen X, they really are simply not internet savvy people. They're shockingly not savvy with the internet when they're liberal. They do exactly what liberals do. They avoid information that makes them feel negative emotions. Period. They don't get that, like, conservatives confront that which gives them negative emotions. Like, we go to the source. Where did they get these numbers from? And you look it up, because if it's true that and it's bad, well, that's bad. This is accurate. It's an accurate report of something bad. You don't want bad things to happen, so you want to adapt to the bad. That's the point. Like, I really keep, more and more, I keep having to, like, walk through this, and I'm like, okay, yeah, there's nothing about that. I don't even, what the fuck's wrong with people on the left now? But, so two things came up. One was, J.D. Vance was being interviewed, and I think it was by a person who was a leftist. Now, within very few moments, this person exposed that which is accurate and quite clear. This is clear market economics. Americans can't afford homes. Said, yes, well, I mean, it doesn't help that there's, like 20 to 25 million illegal immigrants here. She thought that has nothing to do with anything. Oh my God. People who have looked into this have said that isn't an issue. So the fallacy of there is an authority on this, and the authority says that I'm right, so let's just dismiss that. Then it's dismissing market economics, and there's no, you drag them behind a truck. Just get away from them, kill it with fire. People who have a problem with market economics and can't, like, deal with a fundamental, like, well, that's, this, and then, there's demand for it, and blah, blah, that's market economics. And when they just, because they have to dismiss it. The people who don't want to get it, can't get it, kind of aren't built right in the head. And one of the reasons why is because they don't like this idea of, yeah, I'm ugly, that's why hoes don't suck my dick. I've always been unlikable, that's why I've always been treated like, shit. There's a number of these things. They don't want to deal with life is absolutely not exactly fair, but even an idiot can make money. So you should at least, even an idiot can make money. The internet shows us total fucking phonies, morons, and villains can make money. So, buddy, come on. So this person dismisses the market economics part of it. Well, there's obviously this tremendous demand. And because the idea, and now, there's been people looked into it, blah, blah, blah. Oh, so you mean the Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae mortgages that are being extended to people who are non-citizens? You could put that into Google, and the article will pop up that there is a program for non-citizens. It's been going for multiple years now, and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will extend home loans to fucking non-citizens who are here. And it just, it's not even, oh, they're getting their citizenship or something. No, just flat out, just these are illegally immigrated people who get home loans. Which also, there's probably a part of it that you're like, wait a second, this kind of sounds like somebody's trying to scam people. Like somebody's trying to get a whole lot of money out of somebody who's then going to have to like just leave, and the bank still has the asset of the home and money. You know, they've been paid a certain amount of money, and now they could just sell it to somebody else for even more, you know. So yeah, it has that aspect of it. You see, because on the right, that's what we look for, cui bono, in market economic terms, market economics terms. Where the left, they don't. They're like, oh, cui bono, and then they look for some weird social theory cause. Oh, well, you know, the white man, he's the one who's really going to, and you know, it's because it's easy to come up with such a motive, you know, to cast that malign, and to say, oh, that's definitely the motivation there. So the thing that I started to walk through with this was, I was like, okay, so now what was interesting was the accent. So while J.D. Vance is doing this NPR, PBS interviewer had this voice. It was so Yankee, so East Coast, New England. Just, I mean, she was the pinnacle of Yankee liberal. And that it's so stunk of, well, here's what the deal is. She needs her topiary cut in 20 years, and she's going to be old as dirt. And you know what? She wants to know she could get a good deal on that. See, now that's casting malign. That's casting malign because I've seen that in California. I know that's how liberals think. They do say that. They say things like this. They say, who's going to clean your bathrooms? And then it became this thing of, she made that error. Then she made that error. So she's making an entire series of errors that really show, no, this is what liberal women really are like. This is how their brain really works. And so she goes, well, if she gets into all these awesome stats that she has about the important jobs that in contracting that illegal aliens do. So these illegal aliens are supposedly building this tremendous amount of homes. Vance absolutely just fucking max on her. It was so ill, because he's just like, oh, so in the 1950s, how did they build homes? It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant, just kapow, right, jab right in the face. It was beautiful. Vance nailed her. And so she had to do when you are around the liberals, you've grown up around them, you know what makes them tick. She did it. Well, who's going to pick the cotton? Who's going to build the homes without the illegals? How can we build how can we pick crops? I was just sitting there just like, you fell right for it. He literally, you could have done anything, but and it was beautiful. I mean, Vance it was like watching Buakaw. It was like watching Buakaw toss a guy over. It was so beautiful and you just suddenly, the guy just bam, just hits the mat, and you're like, oh, damn, didn't even see that coming, and so beyond that, then what Hassan Piker said, that there's no way There's no way back from this. The way he put this was it was truly one of those moments that I'm like, yes, when young men embrace socialism, but they don't really know that much about history, they don't really know much about like the ideas, they because they don't read ideas, they don't like things like that. The grave error they make in being like, oh well, the socialist idea here is, this group is bad, so anything that the other group want to do to them is okay because they're commies. So he's talking about that the commies destroying Tibet, and so that he basically did an Asmongold. He pulled a total Asmongold moment. Where, and this is the thing with Hassan, is he genuinely really is an ignorant bigot. So it is one of these things that it made sense that it's like he didn't, that he just was like kind of like, oh yeah, fucking, there was a slave state run by a king and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, so of course anybody who's read anything from Tibetan Buddhism, so what these people write to their own people about their ideas, they traded in silver and copper like everybody else. They were some of the most renowned translators of not just Buddhist texts, but also texts from India. So there's texts from ancient India that you have to consult Tibetan translators about, because there is no version that still exists in India. This is actually, when you look at like this class, they're kind of, it's kind of shocking how intelligent just the average Tibetan, when you deal with them in the Western world, are, like how insightful they are, and how they have this, there's a shocking similarity to Native Americans in this long kind of way that they'll kind of sit and wait to say something, it's a pacing of words that I've only encountered with Native American guys. And guys who they grew up speaking English. It's not like they speak Navajo and they learned English as a second language, like that one guy on YouTube. Navajo, was it? Navajo Man? It's like Navajo Man and something Bay. I forget. They're really great people. They have a great, interesting show. But there's a pace, both of them, from two totally different groups. They pace their words a certain way, and it's very fascinating, because I was like, at first when I met a guy in the Northwest who did this, like he was raised around Vatos, so I was like, why does he talk like that though? And it's just something all of his friends who were Native Americans, all from different nations, they all had this really weird pacing of their language. So I just figure it's just something that I kind of was always wondering if any of you guys have ever run into this as well, because actually even the Athabascan I knew in college had a way he would pace his words and he was totally just an Alaskan guy. Like there was nothing, he wasn't from the res or something like that. And so I just sit back every once in a while and think about that. Like, is that really something I'm noticing? No. But anyway, he goes into this whole thing about Tibet and how the communists, fundamentally, he's like, yeah, yay Chinese communists. Now, anybody who even knows what the communists themselves kind of brag about, what is then widely known, this was genocide. It was actually a genocide of large sections of the Tibetan population. They've outlawed the use of the Tibetan language. Like everything about this is villainous. how the communist Chinese treat Tibet. Tibet was never some kind of section of China that's never been correct. Even when it was under Buddhist imperial rule, there's literally a sub-governance, and it's the 5 parts of the Buddhist world, and so one was the, I think it was the Dalai or the Panchen Lama is the, and yeah, there's one on the eastern coast. There's one, the Tibetans, there's the Mongolian Buddhists, and then the southern south of the river. And I'd have to look it up. I mean, these were actual offices that and it was like a whole conceptual thing. And so it was a way that the Mahayana Buddhists and the Vajrayana Buddhists could be united under imperial rule from, I believe it was Peking at the time, but I'd have to look up again. I'd have to look up that era. So the thing that, when Hassan's going into this, one of the key elements about this is that Hassan likes 2 things. He's a cheap Islamist in a lot of ways, and that he's also, a dumbass commie. And so when it comes down to it, or he purports Islamism and communism. Oh, what's going on here, buddy? Oh no, I think he's calling the homies. Oh, I see. Oh, they're all over there. Wonder what's going on. It's kind of interesting. Oh well. He's doing his thing. Mad as hell. Sounds mad as hell. Oh, and then you're up here. Interesting. Okay. Something's going on. Oh yeah. They're probably playing around. Crows playing around. Anyway, so Hassan goes into this thing and so now I'm like, okay, knowing quite a bit about Tibet, these are the 2 groups that are like the enemies of Tibetan Buddhism. Not even Christians are like, we have to do something about the Tibetan Buddhists, or something. It was, yeah, it's just, okay. And then on top of it, he's going after the Dalai Lama. Oh, how, he was this and that and this. The thing is though, the quote unquote native religion of Tibet, Bon, a type of sort of what the Buddhists call them is Bonpo sorcerers. So the Po being, I think, law. So like the law of Bon, and the Bonpo sorcerers. They don't listen to the Bonpo sorcerers. What am I citing? Words of My Perfect Teacher by Patrul Rinpoche. So, in citing Words of My Perfect Teacher by Patrul Rinpoche, do not teach the turban heads. That's what the Tibetans said about Islam, because Islam hates all religions that have a man in a picture. That's idol worship. So they hate they everywhere that Islam has encountered Buddhism. These are 2 groups that are always the Buddhists are always getting fucked with by Muslims. And eventually it kind of seems to have, because the more eastward you go, the more Islam becomes more and more of a minority religion. And so the takeover of India, and so this is another example. The only reason why Islam is in India is because, for one, I think Muhammad actually in some way, shape, or form has some kind of Hindu lineage or something like that. Or like that's like the group. I forget. There was something real weird like that somebody brought up recently, and I'm like, what the fuck? But the thing is, though, what it is that he told the Muslims to take over India. And so the wiping out of Hindu religion wasn't a Christian thing. It was a Muslim thing. Christianity became a part of the many religions of India. India just simply has a lot of different kinds of religions in it. That's a part of the way their culture works. And Islam can't do that. Islam cannot tolerate that. So this is why now the Modi government is the way it is. That they're like, no, Islam's foreign from India, and they're dicks. So no, we're not taking more of them in, because if they're not from here, why should we take them in? And then why should we allow this hostile foreign minority religion? Don't worry, that fight's coming. That fucking fight is coming. And India has everything to gain by being hard-hearted toward Islam, because Islam cannot abide almost anything about Hinduism at all. And any peace that they make that peace because, well, no, they'll get macked on, they'll get busted in the fucking face, and as soon as they have any advantage, they will take it, and because that's what Islam does. It's the same thing with socialists. So it's kind of fascinating that, because this is the great alliance, is Islamists and socialists. They do this all, country after country after country, especially in Africa and the Middle East, until they come up with paramilitary groups that terrorize the society that are both Marxist and Islamist, such as Hamas, Hezbollah, Fatah, and other ones like that. So then the thing beyond this is, it's also kind of fascinating because the progressive movement originally was a key part of it was, we shouldn't have anything to do with China. Look at what they're willing to do to the Tibetans. So they hadn't even touched the Uyghurs yet. The Uyghurs were still a group that most people didn't know existed. I used to go to a Uyghur restaurant. It was absolutely lamb fried rice, amazing. But anyway, well, now that China's wiping out the Uyghurs, where are the progressives now? They're nowhere to be found, because you see, it keeps how is a Mexican going to cut their topiary if they can't afford the tools, oh yeah, we have a weed whacker and we have these things. No, you see, and so I find it fascinating the way that this all came together within about 48 hours for me. I'm like watching the progressives completely map out the way that their psyche functions, where this person's basically these two people are admitting, we think of ourselves as low nobles of an empire, and that we should inherit people who will cut our topiary, and we should be able to just have people walk into the country and completely obey us and cut my topiary. and I'm just more, and anyone who objects, they're Hitler. I'm just sitting back like this. So heads you win, tails I pay you money, or something like that. Like it's amazing how this ends up working, and that this comes on dismissing crime that now we know the actual most progressive president in history hid. That his law enforcement actually hid crime statistics. So the least most of our society being preyed upon by criminals. When you have the most progressive administration ever, they'll lie about it to look good. The most progressive administration ever has no problem concealing and then fighting against voter fraud and the chances of fraudulent voters having access to the polls. The most progressive administration ever constantly tries to set up ways of having people who are completely legally able to own firearms to not be able to own firearms. And then they want to ban something that they just come up with a magical name for something. We're going to ban that. And then there's whole categories of information. They say, no, this is just not just rubbish. This is some form of dangerous information. And we, the progressives, with the help of the most progressive administration in history, should just be able to tell you what you're saying is obviously not true, and we'll dismiss it out of hand, and then we'll come after you in some way for it. And that anybody who allows for information that is accurate, but we don't like, so we're going to name it this magical word that makes it now something that you're not allowed to have, spoken. It's verboten words. Because you have said the verboten words, now we get to take your company over. We get to do all kinds of wild shit to you. We get to ruin your life. So more and more, I just wanted to put that together. I had to walk through that last 48 hours because I was there when the progressive movement, when Tom Hartman and all these losers were trying to get this together, and I believed in it, but at a certain point, Tom Hartman started to prove to me, I'm like, bro, you need to make a point. You need to nail it. But at one point, he fucked up really bad. And I was like, wait a second. You just conceded the argument. And then I'm like, wait a second. There's some term that was used here that's not being explained, but you had to concede the argument when that term was used. So what was that about? Because you see, most people at some point, the genuine, Western tradition of smart people having a smart talk is, okay, you got me there, and then to the audience, for those who don't understand, and you explain it. Because that's charitable, that's honorable, things like that. Well, so now we're really starting to see progressive liberalism are dishonorable American bigot like Yankees that think that they're entitled to have like the third world cut their topiary, and that they just kind of choose which paramilitary they want to like watch annihilate some group of people or something, and then they go, oh no, but you see, they're socialists, so they're okay. and so I'm just now like, it's truly an honorless like ideology. There's like, and that they will not in any way, shape, or form. They keep losing the accuracy game at every stage. And now, the best part of watching Destiny is to watch how spurgy he is now during the events. Like, what's his face when he was up against the guy from InfoWars recently, who really comes across like a man, like a real man, while Destiny comes across as like, kind of this spurgy, possibly homosexual, like kind of looking like, he like somebody who has to take brain drugs, and then the most important thing was, if anybody wants to look at Schroyer's back compared to Destiny's back, like as they're standing. Schroyer is upright. Destiny is like golem style, like golem down, golem neck, like crazy. Ooh, I gotta show you guys. Ooh boy, look at that. Oh, that was beautiful. And so I did, yeah. And then the empty eyes of Hassan Piker, the empty eyes, and probably, I'm thinking it's probably. I bet he works on machines. You know what I'm saying? I bet he works on machines. Not the bar. No. He doesn't chin. Homie doesn't chin. Homie doesn't do dips. He plays on machines. Just a thing I'm thinking. But that's not. That's kind of petty. That's a petty thing for me to say, but it's, it just, I kind of get that feeling. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.